Okay, so let's unpack this. We're looking today at a bunch of these short clips, really, excerpts from ABC News' TikTok featuring President Trump.
Right, like these little snapshots popping up on your feed.
Exactly. Short videos, different topics, and you also see the comments right away, plus other news bits ABC News posted around the same time.
And the idea is to sort of cut through that fast scroll.
Yeah, to figure out, what was actually said and how people reacted, like right in that moment.
It's interesting that unfiltered feel you get on TikTok. You see the statement, then bam, the immediate reactions.
It's quite direct, isn't it? Gives you a real-time pulse, maybe.
Definitely a direct line kind of into what people are thinking right then and there, both about the topic and, well, the person speaking.
Okay, let's dive in then. One clip that definitely got attention was about Pete Hegseth, President Trump hoping he'd be a great defense secretary.
Yes, despite the, what was it, the signal flap.
That's the one. And ABC was teasing this for their main broadcast, too. But the TikTok comments, well, they were interesting.
What stood out?
People really latched onto Trump saying, "we will," at the end. Some thought it sounded, I don't know, strong. Others found it kind of funny.
Focusing on just two words like that.
Right. And then, of course, lots of opinions on Hegseth himself.
You know, that focus on we will, it sort of shows how online, especially on TikTok, even tiny things get amplified, right?
Totally. Brevity, tone, it all gets magnified.
Yeah, and a simple phrase suddenly becomes this whole point of discussion, or like you said, even humor. It's how these platforms work, dissecting everything.
Every little bit. Okay, then another big one. This interview clip with ABC's Terry Moran, Trump talking about due process for undocumented migrants.
Ah, yes. This was significant.
He said, and I'm quoting here, "if people come into our country illegally, there is a different standard."
That really lit up the comments.
Well, yeah, because that touches on something really fundamental, doesn't it? Due process.
Explain that a bit more for anyone maybe unfamiliar. Sure. So due process, it's basically a core legal idea. Fair treatment through the courts, notice, a chance to be heard. The idea of a different standard. Well, that immediately raises questions.
About equal protection, you mean?
Exactly. It's a cornerstone. So suggesting it might not apply equally, that's bound to cause concern.
And it did. Lots of commenters were worried, some asking if he understood the Constitution on this point.
Understandably.
One comment really jumped out at me. Someone wrote, "no, you're not deporting citizens at this point."
Wow. That speaks volumes, doesn't it? About fear, maybe. Fear of mistakes or rights being eroded.
Seems like it, like this underlying anxiety about how far things could go.
It really highlights why clarity is so critical when you're talking about something like immigration enforcement.
Yeah.
And it's interesting what people said about the interviewer, Terry Moran.
Oh, yeah. What was that?
Comments calling him an actual journalist, even a hero for how he handled it.
So people appreciated the tough questions.
It seems so. Like they value that role of, holding power accountable, asking for clarity.
Makes sense. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. There was also this clip, Trump talking about government spending.
Right, the one mentioning Elon Musk and DOGE, which was unexpected.
Yeah, very. He said he didn't think they went too far cutting government spending, claimed it saved Americans hundreds of billions.
DOGE, the cryptocurrency, saving billions in government spending.
I know, right? He did add that maybe some things could be reinstated. But the DOGE link, it's kind of out there.
It is. I mean, literally, the link doesn't make sense. But maybe it's symbolic, tapping into that anti-establishment crypto community kind of vibe.
Like distrust of normal finance, embracing something, well, meme-y.
Possibly. Or maybe just signaling a disruptive approach to budgets, sort of aligning with Musk's image, perhaps. Less about DOGE itself, more about the attitude.
So maybe more about signaling a certain kind of fiscal thinking, even if the specifics are unusual?
Could be. It's definitely an odd pairing.
Okay. Then, completely different topic. Measles. There was a clip from an ABC interview where Trump addressed the recent outbreak.
And what did he say there?
Actually recommended families get vaccinated. Pretty straightforward public health advice.
Okay. So using the platform to promote vaccination there, aligned with the standard medical advice for measles.
Yep. Then there was another question ABC posed to him about Joe Rogan.
The podcaster. What about him?
Apparently, Rogan had been sounding the alarm, as ABC put it, about Trump's potential migrant deportation plans, the scale of them.
And Trump's response.
Well, the clip cuts off, so we don't see his answer in that specific TikTok.
Ah. But just raising the question highlights that it's a major point of discussion, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Feasibility, the ethics of, well, large-scale deportations. Rogan mentioning it probably reflects broader public concerns.
Seems likely. Okay, back to economics for a moment. China trade policy.
The tariffs.
Yeah. Another clip showed him doubling down, saying China probably will eat those tariffs. ABC News reported that.
Which is consistent with his stance, right? The idea that the exporting country pays the tariffs.
Yeah, that's been his argument.
And it's still, a big debate among economists.
Yeah.
Who actually bears the cost?
But whose?
Businesses. The exporter. It's complex.
Well, speaking of costs, this next bit was interesting. A report surfaced that Amazon, or at least a smaller part of it, Amazon Hall, was thinking about listing tariff costs separately for consumers.
Ooh, that would make the cost very visible, wouldn't it?
Apparently.
Yeah.
Because the report said it led to President Trump calling Jeff Bezos directly.
Presidential call over that. Wow.
Yeah, and then an Amazon spokesperson denied it was ever really considered for the main Amazon site. And the White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, she called the whole idea hostile and political.
So quite a strong reaction. It really shows the tension, doesn't it? Between
Right.
policy, how businesses react, and what the public sees.
Definitely. The idea that just maybe showing the tariff cost could trigger that kind of response. It says a lot about how sensitive the issue is.
And Amazon backing away from it, at least publicly for the main site, suggests they knew it could cause waves, politically, or with customers seeing higher prices directly linked to tariffs.
High-stakes stuff, seems like. Now, just to give a bit more context, the ABC News TikTok feed wasn't only Trump interviews around this time.
Right. It's always a mix on those feeds.
Yes, totally. They had a NASA astronaut returning, stuff about Beyonce's tour, the sad news about black lung disease coming back among coal miners,
Could arrange.
a weird police chase with an empty boat, updates on that Kim Kardashian robbery trial in Paris, Trump's press secretary talking tariffs again, a really tragic crash at a camp in Illinois,
Gosh, yeah.
and even a piece looking back at Trump marking 100 days of his second term. So it's this whole jumble of news hitting you.
And that mix itself tells a story, doesn't it? About the information landscape, global news, celeb stuff, serious domestic issues, politics, all side by side.
Exactly. It really paints a picture of how fragmented and, well, fast everything comes at us now, especially in these short-form feeds.
You get these intense little bursts of information, often without much context, jostling for attention.
So wrapping this up then, this look at the ABC News TikToks, it gave us these quick glimpses into Trump's statements on lots of things. Hegseth, due process, spending, measles, trade.
And crucially, those immediate reactions. The comments, the buzz online, right alongside the clips.
It definitely raises questions, though, doesn't it? Like the real-world impact of saying there's a different standard for due process.
Or how we should even interpret a claim linking DOGE to budget savings. It's, well, makes you think.
And more broadly, how do these super short reactive exchanges actually shape how we understand really complex stuff?
That's the big question, isn't it? Which leads us to a final thought for you, listening.
Yeah. When you see these instant varied reactions flying around on platforms like TikTok, how does that rapid fire consumption, that feedback loop, actually change how you understand big issues or the people involved?
What are the upsides? You get information fast, you see raw opinion. But what are the downsides? Lack of depth, emotional reactions, overthought.
Definitely something to chew on next time you're scrolling through your own